And now we are going to create these chat components, and the chat component contain the containers and the friends avatars, so which show the pictures when it has picture, otherwise it just show a great avatars. And also it has the chat container which contain the names, the latest message, and also the date. So we back to the project and go to the components folders, and then we create a new file called chat.js, and then we type our AFC, and then at here we are going to use the moment, because at last you can see we have to show the time, show the date. So we back to our server, we stop this, and then we type yarn add moment, and we are going to replace this again with our AFC. I don't know why it output wrongly, so we click enters, and then we click save. Now we are going to add the containers, the style containers at the end of this file, and we are going to use display flash is because we want to display the avatars and also these chat containers in the row directions. And we also set the align item to center, so which all of these will align vertically at the center. And of course we have to use the cursor pointer to make it like a button, so we can mouse over it and it will become a finger. And we add the rubric, so if the message is too long it will go to another line. And we also want to add a light gray or darker gray colors, so when the mouse over it, it will highlight it. Now we already has the moment, so we import the moment from moment. Now we start the server again by typing yarn def, and if you compare with the chat.json, at last we want to pass the latest message, timestamp, and also the photo URL, which one of these has the photo URL, just like this one. So we copy the photo URL and we will pass this as props. So we go to the chat and go to here and type photo URL and also the name, the timestamp, and also the latest message. And now we are going to change this to container, and of course we have to go back to the sidebar and change this to chat component. So we remove this and change to chat. So of course we have to import from the components, so we have to go to the top and import the chat from the chat. Now if you want to see what happened, we have to go to here and, for example, we pass the latest message and we go to the sidebar and then we pass the latest message as props. So we type latest message is equal to chat.latest message. So we save it. Now we can see the latest message shown, and when the mouse over it, there is a light gray over the top. And before we continue, we are going to pass all the things to the chat component. So including the latest message, the name is equal to the chat dot. We're going to see what happened inside the data. So we go to the chat.json, we can see it has the photo URL, the name, and also the latest message, and of course the timestamp. So we use the name, so the chat.name, the timestamp is equal to chat.timestamp, and also what we're missing is the photo URL is equal to chat.photo URL. So what we already passed is already become the props. And now we are going to add the friends avatars. So we back to the chat components and go to the end of the file and we paste this, and this is the friend avatars. And now we are going to display the friends photos, the friend avatar. So we have the source is equal to the photo URL. So we close this component, and the avatar is not defined because we haven't imported the avatar. So we have to import from the material UI. So now we already import this. Now you can see we have the friends photos inside our chat components. And now this is the most tricky part, is to pass the name, the latest message, and also the time. So we are going to create a div, and which is the name and also the latest message and also the time. And for the timestamp, we are going to use the moment, and we convert this to local time, and we are going to multiply the seconds 1000, and then we use dot format and then LT for the local time. So now if you look at the component, you can see it already has the name, the latest message, and the time. But how can we display it like a real WhatsApp? We need the help of using the grid. So what we are planning to do is we are going to divide this into a grid with 2 rows and 3 columns, and the name contains 2 fractions for the first row, and the date only contains a 1 fraction, and the latest message will contain the whole second row. So now we create a chat container to make this happen. So we use the chat container. You see we already set it display as grid, and this means we have 3 columns, and we also add a borders, because you can see we have a light borders at here, and then we have a gap, and also you can see we already set the name contain 2 fractions, and this contain 1 fraction, and the latest message contain 2 fractions, and actually we have a dot here, and I also talk a little bit wrong because we should only contain this only has a white space rather than contain 2 fractions. So we use the chat containers to contain these items. Now you can see there is nothing happened yet, and we just see it has some gap in between because we haven't named it as the name, the time, and also the latest message. So we have to add the style. For example, in here we have to add the style is equal to the grid area name, and this is latest message, and this is the time, and we also want to set the font size, and maybe we take a look first. Now you can see the position is correct now, and we want to set the font size of the time to be smaller, so we go to here and set the font size is 14 pixels. Now you can see this is much better, and this is how to create the chat items in the sidebar.